I thought I was gonna be doing some towing tests, but I keep getting so many text messages from my friends saying I gotta talk about this. And I'm like, I've already done a video on this, but they say, no, you gotta do a video on, is it going to be legal to delete? So I got like 3 text messages this morning, and then I just got a couple more. So you know what? I had some towing tests for you guys, but I guess I'm gonna have to postpone those just a little bit longer. And plus those videos are really hard for me to edit anyway, so it kind of works out this way to just do this instead. But yes, I'm sure you guys have seen Lee Zeldin said this.
Final question, sir. Garrett Bergquist, Wish TV, Indianapolis. In effect, if placed into effect as currently envisioned, does this rule effectively reset the emission standards for autos, light, medium, heavy duty trucks back to 2008 standards? What sorts of things will be left in place? What will be taken out?
As it relates to greenhouse gas emission standards on light duty, medium duty, and heavy duty, it doesn't reset anything. It eliminates everything.
And that should be just the end of this conversation. Great news is I keep seeing someone comment, and maybe I'll put your comment here. Someone said that we can now do a delete on a 24 plus GMC Sierra Duramax. I don't know if it's true or not, just saying. I mean, I looked online real quickly, I couldn't find anything, but you guys know Tim at Pickup Truck plus SUV Talk. He actually did a video on Instagram that someone sent me, Ben. Don and Ben actually sent me the video that you guys just saw with Lee Zeldin saying what he said. But Tim unfortunately gives us some hard news because he's been doing this research. He's been talking to people too about this matter. And they're pointing this in a direction that I was really afraid would happen. So here's what we have to do. We have to come together, number one. I mean, listen, I'm not against emissions control. If someone wants to believe that DPF, SCR, DOC, and diesel exhaust fluid is helping the environment, by all means. People are allowed to drive EVs just like people can be allowed to opt to have emissions control in their truck. But I feel as though, and I keep saying this, if someone decides they don't want those options on their truck, then they should have the right to remove them. Doesn't matter who's in office. That is just the facts. You should be allowed to take that crap off your truck. Let's read Tim's article, and then I'm gonna give you guys my closing arguments here. So here's the article, is the title. And down below it says, EPA's GHG rollback plan caused truck owners hope to make deleting emissions equipment legal, yet experts say it falls well short of that. Like I said, not great news here. Now here's a timeline for the EPA's endangerment finding. But down below, the EPA rollback announcement on July 29 was much anticipated, with Zeldin promoting the idea going back to March during his so-called big day of deregulation. Zeldin now says they have scientists who dispute the data and findings from the 2009 report. The 2009 endangerment finding identifies 6 specific greenhouse gases. Here they are right here. It was created while President Obama was in office and commonly attributed from a landmark 2007 U.S. Supreme Court ruling, Massachusetts versus the EPA, when President Bush was in office. The 2009 endangerment finding enabled several administrations to use the EPA to target GHG emissions as part of the Clean Air Act to further their goals. Someone made a really good point in the last video in the comment sections stating, why is it that alcohol is still being offered for sale in this country based off of the data we have for all the people who've died in car accidents or the people who've just overdrank and died, right? We see the outcome of alcohol, the addiction, but yet we still offer it. Same thing goes with cigarettes. I made the point in that video. Why do we still offer cigarettes for sale? And we can all point to that green dollar bill in your pocket. It all goes back to money. Same thing goes with this emissions control. DEF is something that we have to purchase for our trucks to keep them on the road. And I don't know how many distributors are there out there for diesel exhaust fluid, but I'm willing to bet you, if we did a little bit of research, a little bit of digging, we could probably find a culprit on why these emissions control is such a big deal. Now, I'm pretty sure most of you guys understand what diesel emissions equipment are. If not, you can check out this diagram, or you can come over to pickuptrucktalk.com and read this article. But I really want you guys to understand is this. In the early 2000s, Bush was in office. He was a Republican president. And a few people have made this point that it's not just a Democratic issue. Republican presidents have made attempts to try to regulate emissions. However, I will say, Democrats take it to a whole nother stratosphere whenever they get involved in something. And we saw that, during the Obama administration for sure. But this is the million-dollar question, as Tim says. Did EPA Administrator Lee Zeldin's new proposed rule rolling back the 2009 endangerment finding offer hope to diesel truck owners to legally remove the equipment? Experts say no. So SEMA basically said no. Also, other people that he's reached out to have said no. So the reality is, if you're hoping to do a weight loss program, just don't tell nobody. I'm just telling you right now, don't tell nobody, because unfortunately, I don't think that you will have an issue with the Republican Party sending people out to enforce the law. But the reality is, the companies that are going to offer any type of equipment for defeating these devices is going to be on the hook. And I can see that being an issue in the future. So someone keeps messaging that there's now a delete kit for the 2024 GMC's Chevy Duramax L5P Gen 2s. I haven't found anything on it yet. I went online real quickly to search and I couldn't find anything online quite yet. So maybe they've come up with a tune for it now that they can actually allow us to do weight loss program. But the problem is, I don't know if I would even do a video on it, just because I don't want to have any issues in the future. I mean, I am a business owner, and the reality is we've seen what they have done in the past. They really do come down hard. And again, I don't think we'd have an issue under this administration, and if it continues to be Republican, I don't see them enforcing this because it's not enough money for them to really go after this. But the reality is, if the Democrats get back in office, they're going to make an example out of these small instances because they want people to stop doing it. So for them, it's all about control. And I'm just being honest here. Just being honest. It's not about us against you. It's just the truth. The truth is the Democrats take it to a whole nother level for foolishness. Again, we do know that alcohol kills significantly more people versus diesel soot. And we don't even know if diesel soot even kills people. We just know that it smells bad when someone's rolling coal. And I'm not saying that we should do that. I would never do that. But personally, I think that if someone wants to do something that stupid, they should have the right to do so. I'm just being honest here. If you guys want to know my honest to God opinion, if you really want to see change, it can't just happen at this level. See, you guys have heard the term deep state. I believe there is a deep state. I believe there's people pulling strings. I believe that there can be presidents and people in power who are plants. They were put there for a purpose, and their purposes are being fulfilled. You really saw that after 2020. You really start to see it come up with all the, again, my mask protects you, your mask protects me. This kind of control that never, it made my neck, it made my back ache when I saw what was happening. And no matter how hard you try to show people this, it's like they couldn't see it. But if we want to win to have the freedoms that we deserve as American people, we have to become a deep state collectively. There has to be millions and millions of us pouring money into fighting against these types of things. But again, I don't even want to say this on camera because I feel like I'm already getting throttled on my channel. But it's not just me, I see other people too. But the reality is, these types of decisions should be made by American people. I think that if we really, really cared about the environment, there's so many things that we can do. I said it in the last video, you can go back and watch it. But here's what I'll tell you. I want to see the guys who like emissions control. I personally believe it should still be an option that the manufacturers can add to a truck. If someone wants to help the environment, I won't put it in a quotation, but if they feel like they're doing a service for the environment, then so be it. If a company wants to have emissions control in their truck, so be it. Let them order their trucks that way. If anything, maybe it should be a tax credit. That way companies might be more, leaning to want to get the emissions control. But if someone like myself could care less about it, I should have the right to buy my truck without any emissions control. But I don't think that they should just take it away 100%. It should still be an option for anyone who might still want to use those features. I'm just being honest. I think that we shouldn't just eliminate emissions control. I don't want to see black smoke going down the road either. I think that the guys who plan on doing delete kits, if they do that, they mess it up for everybody. But the reality is, when you have a good tune on your truck, you will never see black smoke, right? And I truly think that if we came together collectively and helped to fund, right, attorneys, have them on retainer to keep us out of trouble, basically. I mean, again, I don't think that what we're doing is even wrong because, again, I'll keep saying this. What the guy said in the comment section of my video is true. We know that alcohol kills a lot of people a year. We know that. However, they still keep offering alcohol. So why not just let us have our delete kits, right? I just think that it doesn't really matter. If we cared about health, then everyone would have to be required to work out 30 minutes a day. If we cared about health, we would close down McDonald's or just make McDonald's. We will enforce, right? We will control McDonald's greasy, salty fries. Hey, you can't sell that anymore. We're all about health now. But they're not going to do that. We know that people die from obesity, but we do nothing about that by controlling it. That's why our healthcare is so daggone expensive. If we just were more healthier, maybe the healthcare would go down. Okay, I'm going off on the wrong tracks here. So this is exciting for the future. Maybe, just maybe, trucks will start coming out of the factories without emissions control, because that's basically what Lee Zeldin is saying. However, in the next video we're going to talk about what would that look like for the values, because that is another question that people have been actually talking to me about. They said, what is that going to do to the values of trucks that have emissions control? Because I'll be honest with you guys, if they make it a hard stop for deleting, the first thing I'm doing is selling my truck, and I'm going to go get one that doesn't have emission control, unless my truck is worth significantly less, and then I'll just keep it, and then whatever happens to my emission control stuff. That's all I'll say. But yes, in the next video, it'll be after this one, this weekend. What does this look like for the values of our trucks? See you guys soon.